Give Paul Nebrasky a call, and they'll help you out.
From
Thank
Nebrasky Plumbing and Heating.
Good morning.
Good morning. So this is something we have to do. If only we could find 5 minutes in our 24-hour day.
Yeah.
And that is central air.
And it's something that you really need the information about, because maybe some people are afraid of it because they never had it, or they go out and buy those window or wall air conditioner
They
things.
don't
They're
work.
cheap at Home Depot. You go pick up a couple.
Well, yeah, I agree they work. And, I heard earlier, Taylor, you don't like the summer. I'm assuming you don't like to be hot. Is that why you don't
Correct.
like the summer?
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna have it, make it so you like the summer now, right?
As long as I'm not outside, I'm good.
As long as you're in an air-conditioned space, you're good.
Exactly.
So do you guys know that in Washington, D.C., during the summer, before air conditioning, the politicians would take the whole summer off?
Oh.
Really?
And only they
they
could.
don't now.
And they don't. And Neil, I knew you were going to say that. That was a good one, right?
And if they don't, they should.
I agree. So,
That's right.
So I'm thinking, Frank, you should give Taylor off the whole summer. And
I'm good
things
with
are
that.
I'm okay with that because I love the heat. Bring it on.
He's not fighting that one.
Today, I really want to talk about a question that we've been getting a lot lately. And that's really for people who have air conditioning, when to change my air conditioning. There's a lot of reasons to change your air conditioning, even if it's working. And we really want to talk about that today. So I'm going to give some tips to our listeners about air conditioning, when to change your air conditioning. Having a wall unit is one of them. So we're going to get into that a little bit.
All right.
So let's just talk about, you have an air conditioning system, and the life of an air conditioning system is anywhere between 12 and 15 years. So one of the things I'm going to say is if it's over 12 or 15 years, it's already out of the manufacturer warranty. First thing we're going to tell our customers, you really want to look to change something if it's out of the manufacturer's warranty. Why? Because now when it breaks down, nothing's warranted, and it's going to be very expensive to fix at that point. Right. So I know a lot of people who lease cars. I ask them, why do you lease cars? They're like, well, I only have it for the manufacturer's warranty.
Oh.
And then I give it back.
Good analogy.
And I get a new one. So 12 to 15 years is the manufacturer's warranty. I want to give our listeners a little tip on manufacturer's warranties also, which they don't know, like a car. It says in almost every book for your warranty that you have to maintain your air conditioning system. Same with a heating system.
So once a year, like type thing?
Once a year.
Right.
So if you don't maintain that and have those records, there's a good chance that they're not going to give you that manufacturer's warranty. No. So if you have a new system or even one that's in warranty, Neil.
Good point.
It's a really good point. So it's no different than if you don't change your oil in your car and your engine goes, and then you don't have those records. So even if it's in that warranty, Frank, you should have it serviced on a year basis and have records of that.
What does this service include on a typical air conditioning system?
It includes checking everything. We do like a 25-point check, changing the filter, checking the pressures on the refrigerant, making sure everything works properly. To list them all off the top of my head, but it's very, very comprehensive. Okay, and just make sure everything is working properly. It takes about an hour. Okay, we check the downstairs system, the upstairs system. So that's really the first thing I want to talk about. If it's 10 to 15 years old, if your AC technician comes over and says, it's not working, or you need $700 or $800 or $900 to fix this, you really want to look into a new system. Again, let's use a car analogy. You have an old car, how much money is it going to cost you to put in to fix that car compared to buying a new one? And it's the same thing with the car analogy. We're going to talk about gas miles, right? Gas mileage. New cars get so much better gas mileage than the cars we used to drive. So a new air conditioning system, it's called seasonal energy efficiency, which is how much electricity your air conditioning uses. The old ones were about 8 to 10 SEER, they call it. A new air conditioning system that we're going to put in your house is New York State code is 13, but we might even go as high as 16. So what's the difference there? The difference, if you go from an 8 SEER air conditioning system, which is really like the window units, to a 14 SEER air conditioning unit, you're going to save $500 a year.
That's a lot of money.
Just in electric.
Yeah.
And that's in New York. So not only are you changing an old system, you're changing with a high efficiency system, which is now going to save you money.
Right.
So if you think of that, over 5 years, that's $2,500. In 10 years, that's $5,000.
Yeah, and you're going to have it at least 10 years.
Yeah. But to make things even better, New York State wants you to save electric. They want you to save energy. So right now, there's New York State rebates, and there's Orange and Rockland rebates.
Oh.
And for Jersey listeners, I'm sure there's rebates. So you can get almost up to $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 back from your utility company, which almost pays for the system.
That's phenomenal.
And the best thing I'll tell listeners for that is when you're ready to change your system, call your utility company and call New York State to find out what the rebates are for high efficiency. So now you got 3 reasons. You're saving money, you're getting rid of an old system, and you are getting rebates that, our tax money is paying for anyway.
Now, what happens if you didn't have central air and you're putting it in? Will you still be eligible?
Absolutely be eligible for those
Oh.
rebates.
So there's a lot of rebates out there now. Paul, maybe a lot of other listeners are like I was. I used to replace the compressor outside all the time because that would be the thing that always seems to go.
Yes.
And I'd be getting newer and better ones, but I wasn't really even seeing much of a decrease in my electric rates or anything because I wasn't changing what was up in the attic, which over time was getting worse and worse, and they didn't match up, I guess. So we started having a lot of problems. Plus, the unit up in the attic was going really, really bad until I changed the whole system one time. And I'm telling you, my electric bills in the summer are like $150 a month. They went down to like in the $58 a month I'm getting. And I'm like, I just couldn't believe the savings by changing the unit you see, the one outside. That's not the answer, right?
100% not the answer. That's why I love doing this with you, Frank. You always bring up great points.
Because I've learned by mistakes over time.
Not in your relationships,
Yeah.
but in
And
air
that-
conditioning.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
right.
I learned on
I'm
that.
not getting, I'm not, no,
No,
I'm the
don't go
heating
there.
guy, plumbing guy,
Right.
not the relationship
don't
guy.
wanna go there.
That's my job.
That's your job. I
leave
heard
that-
that.
leave that to
I heard
Neil.
that. All right. All right. But so that's another great point that's going to lead me to the next really important point. So we all know about global warming. The federal government has banned R22 refrigerant.
Right.
So most of the old systems have R22 refrigerant in it, which depletes the ozone layer.
Oh.
So now what happens, Frank, that is another big reason to change your old system. All systems sold most of them before 2010 have R22 in it. The problem with that is if your outside system goes bad or one part of that, we can't get an R22 system to change it anymore. And if we just fix it, R22 refrigerant is going to be outlawed completely in 2020
Why is it going to be outlawed?
because it's ruining the ozone layer.
In other words, and that happened to me continually where my compressor would leak and I'd have to call the guy up. But one thing you're not even saying, Paul, is if you can get the R22 today, how expensive is it?
I don't even need to
It was
come on the
crazy.
show. You have all my questions.
Paul, I'm
is
telling you,
amazing.
it was hundreds of dollars just to get it filled back. I said, what
Hundreds of dollars. It's
Seriously.
3 to 4 times more than today's refrigerant.
Oh, yeah.
That is made, environmentally friendly. So that's another big reason. If you have R22 in your system, and it's 2010, so it's going to be at least 9 years old. Change it. If there's something wrong with it, change it because you're not going to be able to get R22 anymore. It's 3 to 4 times more expensive, and it's going to leak again.
Yep.
Okay, so that's another great reason to change it. And change both parts. Don't let you got to change both parts. Okay, and again, go high efficiency, which is going to be, and save the money by your rebates. And something I didn't say about those rebates, if we all look at a utility bill, one of those things where they charge you all these surcharges that you see them on your cell phone bill, your phone
Oh,
bill.
yeah, those are crazy.
One of those surcharges is to put money into this pot to give these rebates back. So we're paying for it anyway. Why not
Might
use
as well
their
get
money?
it back.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
You know
Yeah.
what it reminds me of, Frank? When one piece of equipment goes and the other one that connects to doesn't, they always say replace them both at the same time because the
And
other one's going to go.
well, and they're also made to work with each other. It's you only see the unit outside. You don't see the one that's hidden in the wall of the attic. But that's a very big part of it. And another thing, Paul, too, when people are changing this out, don't be afraid to ask. Can you run an extra run? Because I didn't have it in my bathroom upstairs. I didn't have the air in the bathroom. And I found that was not great because it kept the dampness in there and it just would get warm if you closed the door in the bathroom. So I said, can you run another run in there? And yeah, no problem. While we're here, we're doing the whole thing. Let's look at the whole system and figure where the air is going, what's going, and what we can do. It's an easy fix while you got the guys there.
Well, and 100%. So another reason I was going to talk about when to change it. A lot of people might do an addition or have a room in your house or your house is uncomfortable. And your house can be uncomfortable 2 different ways. Back before energy efficiency, we would size an air conditioning house by, you need 5 tons of air conditioning, which a lot of times we oversized air conditioning because the house wasn't insulated properly. And we oversized heating. And that's what the government's looking to get away from, us professionals oversizing heating or cooling. So now you've insulated your house. Now that system is too big for your house. Why would I not want too big? I call it the meat locker effect. So air conditioning takes moisture out of the air to make you feel comfortable so you're not in high humidity. If it runs in short cycles and only runs quickly, the house feels cold and clammy.
Oh, that's true.
The best way I can say is if you go into a restaurant or a church or a temple where there's not a lot of people in there, they oversize those units for it being full. But you feel cold when you walk in, and if you look at the thermostat, it's still set at 72. It's because they haven't taken out the humidity.
The body heat isn't in there
Right.
yet.
They haven't taken that, right, and they haven't taken the humidity out.
Right.
So a properly sized air conditioning actually runs, and you want it to run to take the humidity out. So that's another reason, as Frank brought up. If you've insulated your house, if you put an addition on your house, you might need a bigger size, but now you have too big of an air conditioning in your house, and your house would not be comfortable. So that's really a great point, Frank, that you bring up. You want to make sure that if your house change, if you're not comfortable in your house, either too cold or too hot in the house, let's change it at that point. If it's 10 to 15 to 12 years old. So that's another great reason to change it.
And these are things that the professionals look at, I guess, and you got to size the whole thing up and everything
Right.
because it runs most efficiently, too, if you get the right size for your home.
Yeah,
Right.
I also want to ask, because that's something we're thinking of doing and probably will, is because we live in an A-frame, we can't have traditional air conditioning. You have those, what do they call those units?
The mini-split units, the wall mini-split units, highly, highly efficient. And believe it or not, it's our biggest seller right now. And those units that go on the wall, they're very quiet. They're highly efficient.
Yeah,
So
they
people
are
get
quiet.
rebates for them.
Yep.
And they also will give you some heating.
Oh, that's right. They have
heat-
their reverse heat pump.
the reverse heat pump.
Right.
So believe it or not, they work nice because if you have a day like where we are now, where it's 40 degrees in the morning, why turn your whole heat system on where you
Right.
can turn that highly efficient
Exactly.
heat pump on?
100%.
So our customers love them, and we sell more of them now than traditional air
I think
conditioners.
that's
Well,
what we're
now,
gonna
now
go
let's
with.
let's talk about that too, Paul. Because when I did my makeover a bunch of years ago, I have an all-electric home. That means everything in that house heated with electric heaters on the ground. Very expensive. I talked to the people and I said, "Look, what about a heat pump?" And they said, "Well, that would at the time, I don't know what it is now, it was an extra $1,000 onto the price of this whole installation I was doing to add a heat pump into my air conditioning system." So I could use that instead, especially if you're trying to, save on some money when you're there and everything else. So I went for that because I figured, hey, what a savings that's going to be. And sure enough, it's been a great
And
thing.
many people did. It's more mainstream now. People are understanding the heat pump. They're coming pretty much normally with the system, at least with the mini splits now. And heat pump is a great part of it. And we use it all the time, and our customers love it.
What does it add to a system about these days?
$500-600.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. That's
Yeah, and how
great.
can you go wrong? I mean,
What exactly is a mini split?
It's a wall unit system.
Have
that
you
sits
seen them?
up on the wall. It's a
don't
small
think so.
unit. I'm trying to think the best way to describe one.
They kind of look like,
like a baseboard heater on the wall.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
a little bit bigger.
All right.
Very,
we had
very
one in the
quiet.
bedroom at the last house we were on
Yeah, I
before
know.
this
Very
one.
quiet, very easy to put in. It does the whole room instead of a wall air conditioning, where a wall air conditioning unit could be 8-seer,
Yeah.
older
It's so
one.
quiet, it's ridiculous.
It's
You can't even
19
hear
seers.
it's on.
You see them in hotels. You see them in restaurants.
true.
Many restaurants have them, and they're just highly efficient, and people use them all the time.
And they're standalone. They operate by themselves.
They are standalone, okay? And the great part about that is we can put 3 of them in a house and have 1 unit outside for the outside unit. So you don't have 3 units outside.
You can also remote control them, right?
They
yeah.
all come in a remote control. Everybody loves that. You can just sit in bed and turn it on.
But you never
That's
hear
crazy.
it. I mean, that's the one thing. We had it in the
very
bedroom,
interesting.
and you never heard a sound.
And, one other thing I want to bring up on replacing, which, I said years ago, we would generally just oversize. Now, everything we do now is done by calculations. It's done what we call a manual J. So everything's put into the computer, into your house, and it comes out what sizing you need for your house. And New York State's going to ask that in order to do your rebate. So today, if you are getting replacement, ask your contractor, your AC, do you have your computer program, or it's called a manual J, of just so you know you're getting the right size for your house. That you're not oversizing, that you're not undersizing, that the guy's not putting something in he has in his shop that somebody else bought, that's brand new, but he's giving you a deal on it. So make sure you get proper sizing when you do replace. I just want to let our listeners know that's really an important thing.
It is
Frank.
important.
And Paul, when people go out and tend to buy these inexpensive ones, especially at the end of the season from your home center, how come they don't work that well? I mean, we've put them in windows, and you get a little cool air, but the room still feels hot and muggy.
I mean, I can't really talk about window units because we don't install them, but it's a couple of reasons. They're not central air. It could be too small. there's not really a return to bring return back.
I think they cost
You know.
more with electricity.
Oh, yeah,
sure
because
they
they're not
do.
efficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't work on the window units. And how ugly is a window unit? You
More
know,
than
There
ugly.
goes the window.
are
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah,
I mean-
not only that, you can't see outside. You don't know. I mean, it's just.
And then
awful.
I have customers who leave them in during the winter, and what's that do to their electricity, their
Yeah,
heating
Taylor.
bill?
What does that do to your heating
I'm
bill?
not
Plus
the
it's
one who
cold.
puts them in and takes them out.
Yeah,
by
you're not
the
the one
way,
paying the heating
look in
bill
the
either.
mirror.
I got a question for you, Frank.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Here,
I
I
love
put my
it.
thinking cap on.
What year would you think, and I mean it's really for everybody, that the White House put air conditioning in?
Well, let's think about this. We know cars didn't have air conditioning in the 50s. It started, so I'm going to say in the 1948.
Oh, what do you think, Neil? What
It's
do
probably
you
a lot
think?
earlier, Neil.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
It's definitely
with,
earlier.
I'm going to go with pre-World War II.
Okay,
So
Neil's closer.
I'll say mid-30s, late 30s.
Very close, Taylor.
I'm going to go with Neil.
All right. All right, 1929.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, bonus points for who, if you guys know the president.
Harding.
Close. It's an H.
Hoover?
Yeah, Hoover.
Wow.
All right, so yeah, 1929, Herbert Hoover. Anybody know what number he was?
No, please. Don't get crazy.
31. He was
31. All right. Was that air conditioning as we know it today the same principle, or?
It would have to be very close. You know, Carrier invented air conditioning, so it makes sense, right? So Carrier is, the first guy to invent air
Do
conditioning.
you like them the best?
Are they still around, Carrier? Or
Carrier's the biggest air conditioning company in the world.
Is
still.
it really?
Yeah, and
Because they kept up with technology.
yeah, and he invented it because he was an engineer at a printing facility, and obviously
Oh,
with
how
printing you can't have
interesting.
humidity. So he invented it, which I think is a great,
That's
great,
the mother
great
of invention.
I think he
Right,
did a
and
good job.
Carrier's still the biggest air conditioning company in the world.
What do you recommend for people putting in air conditioning, though, since you guys, do that all the time? Carrier more expensive, or is there a less expensive one, or what do you?
I always give people this answer, and that's a great question. I recommend what your contractor is used to selling and can fix. So and service. So I sell Carrier. I sell a company called Heil, which Carrier bought, but we stock all the parts for both Carrier and all the companies. So we're used to putting it in. We service it. We get extended warranties on it because we are top-notch contractors with it. So my recommendation is what you're comfortable with and what your installer can fix for you. So I have all the parts for Carrier. If 100 degrees and Taylor calls me yelling, I hate the summer, I want something new put in, it's a Sunday.
You don't want me yelling
I
at
have
you.
the parts for that.
No.
But if you said to me, you know what, I want a Lennox system, Paul, I'm not a Lennox dealer. I can get the Lennox, but if it breaks down, I don't have the parts in stock. So
Right.
my suggestion is what your contractor's used to putting in.
And here's the other thing: do we have an app for it on a smartphone? Like we keep it low when we're out for the day.
That's your thermostat.
That's
yeah.
your thermostat.
Yeah.
Can you?
Right.
So you get that smart.
You get the thermostat and connect up to it.
And another thing, as I'm bringing car analogies in all day, to me, it's Ford, Chevrolet. They're all very good. All the products out there are
Ford's
very
the
good.
best.
Okay, but so I have a lot of customers say, hey, I had a Carrier system. I don't want a Carrier system. It broke down in 5 years. 95% of the time, it was the installer who installed it wrong. You just got to really look at that.
Operator error.
And speaking of cars, I know on the car end of it, you have people with classic cars, collectible cars. The same problem. You can't get that
Right.
R22
Yeah,
Can you put that in the garage? One of those units? Too?
Yes.
anywhere you
Yes.
want it, Taylor.
So wouldn't that
Yeah.
make you happy?
So the thing with cars, though, is if you change to the newer system, you have to change to the different hoses and everything, which may not be the same size. And if you want to keep it original looking, because I think the new stuff runs under a little higher pressure, I think, than the old stuff
Yes,
does, right?
correct.
Is that, yeah. So that's why when you're restoring a car, it's kind of I'm not using the air conditioning anymore because I figured it would take away from the original look of it because you have to change to a little bit different paraphernalia under the hood to make it all go. We're speaking with Paul Nebrasky this morning. And Paul, if people want to get information, say they want you to come out and take a look at their home for all the stuff we talked about today or anything
Plus
along
a
those
lot
lines,
more.
it's free for people to do that, right?
Absolutely.
And how long does it take?
Call us and we'll set an appointment up. Right now is our busy time. So give us a call. It's nebraskyplumbing.com, or best way is, go to our website or email us, and nebraskyplumbing.com is the best way to do
And
that.
you know it's going to get hot real soon. So if we do it and we agree
Don't
on
say
something,
that.
how long before we get something put in would you think
Right
about?
now, we're about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, all right.
Right now,
So
and,
do it,
and
yeah.
as it gets
Bad.
hotter, that goes up.
I'm sure it
And
does.
prices,
How many years are you in business, Paul?
30 years.
So he's not there 30 years because he's not a man of his word.
I
I'm
can
just
also
going to
tell
say
you,
that.
as a homeowner for well over 30 years, I always learn something new from Paul when
I
he
know.
comes in.
It's
Neil,
Always.
thank you
I
for
keep
that.
telling him I want him on more often than once. It's
Yeah.
it's not enough. When is he coming on again? I'm like, yeah, not soon enough for me.
I want to tell the listeners one more thing. If you're going to change your air conditioning and want new air conditioning, now's the time to do it. Prices go up in the middle of summer. Attics get to 110 degrees. It takes
Wow.
us twice as long and is dangerous for men to be up in attics. So now's your time to work on your air conditioning, because we do raise prices in the middle of
For
summer.
good reason.
And I bet you were busy when that little heat thing came in a little while ago, right? All the calls came in, hey, my air conditioner didn't start,
Yes, absolutely.
right? It's that crazy time. It all does that.
That's why you service it.
Yeah. We do that with equipment here. See, what happens is all the
yeah.
equipment runs, everything works good. Then all of a sudden we
Lots
get
of
like a
heat.
hot day, and then, it gets a little warmer in the station. Then all of a sudden, boom, one piece of equipment blows, something goes in that.
We
The same
usually
thing in the
keep-
cold when it
we
goes the other way.
usually- We usually keep this station in the meat locker region because of the equipment.
Yeah.
We can't afford to have anything happen to that.
But things do happen and things do go. So, Paul,
Paul's going to stay with us and see if he can guess the 2 seconds.
all right, this will be an interesting one. But, Paul, we appreciate the input today.
Absolutely.
And, we all like
Love
to stay
having
cool,
you.
and it is affordable. Oh, and the one thing we didn't talk about, if people want to put systems like this in, it is something you can finance.
Absolutely,
Oh, yeah,
100%.
that's right.
We offer financing, absolutely.
Yeah, so don't look at it and go, we can't afford to do this. We can only afford to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on window units and everything.
tell me
No,
that.
get it done right. You'll save on the electricity, and you just pay it off over
And
time.
look at,
Rebates
and look at the
and all sorts-
rebates.
yeah,
Exactly,
so
Neil.
many things.
And look at the
are
rebates
huge,
and the
yeah.
investment in your home for whatever. Even if you sell the home, without air, central air, they're going to say,
Central Air,
I
you
don't
get
know.
more money for your house.
You
And it is
definitely
a
will.
capital improvement, so there's no sales tax on it.
Oh, really? And so you don't pay tax on
Many,
the.
many
Looking
reasons
better
to pursue
every
this.
day.
Wow, he's
Yeah.
next
Hello,
thing,
Frank.
Next thing you know, he's going to sell us that he's going to pay us to put it in. And then we're,
Wow.
I don't
Okay,
think
come
that
on
he-
over.
come on over.
Are you taking medical cannabis?
I'm gonna have to.
Because that is not going to happen.
Not going to happen. But now is the time to do it. Check it in. Give Paul and Nebrasky a call, and they'll help you out.
Absolutely.